quite a lot of our carers are non-Irish that are taking care, so I think it's very important to acknowledge that. I want to thank Sinn Féin for bringing this motion, and it builds on what they've done before and what we've done, and Deputy Kenny and myself going back, and all of us. And it's really, we're doing this not to embarrass the government, perhaps really to embarrass you into action. And rather than use my words, I'm going to look again at the motion is looking for very basic stuff: a minimum respite guarantee and a relaxation of the carers allowance means test. I think we all agree it should be abolished, Minister. But if it was to be relaxed with the view to abolishing it, we'd certainly be welcome it. The State of Caring survey that we've all referred to, it's really worth looking at that, because it's the third of such surveys. And in 2020, it showed that carers were grappling with financial hardships, on the brink of indebtedness and lacking critical support services. Then we go forward to the 22 survey, and they said it showed not only that the 2020 challenges still exist, but for many, they intensified significantly during the COVID pandemic. And so you think after COVID things would improve, but the 2024 survey shows how carers are still facing the same challenges. And they point out the core issue identified at the start of the decade, the core issue identified, and we're nearly halfway through the decade, remain deeply entrenched, underscoring the ongoing need for a transformative approach in the support of family carers. And of course the word here is transformative approach. Just like with climate change, just like with not doing business as usual, we need to have transformative change. And for the life of me, I could never understand how those experts in the Department of Finance and the various ministers for finance never actually looked at the savings that carers save the country. I just could never understand in my naivety how that wasn't a fundamental part of the budget every year, how much money is being actually saved to the economy. Perhaps this year, Minister, you might make a difference in relation to the narrative in the budget and what the carers are saving for us. Of course, the census between 16 and 22, the number of people providing regular unpaid care, listen to that now, regular unpaid care increased by 53%. In 2022, 61% of the carers were female and 39% were male. And all of those, lots more statistics that I won't go into. The cost of disability. We had an Indicon report. It was commissioned in 2018. It was published on the 7th of December 2021. Huge lapse of time. No single cost of disability due to a wide range in the severity of disability and household type, etc. But they made a conclusion, and the conclusion was that people with disabilities, believe it or believe it not, know and use and you have annual extra costs ranging from 8,700 to 12,300. But this can reach as high as 23,610 per year. We've had 2 budgets since, and remember that report was commissioned in 2018, so if you count all the budgets from them, a lot more than 2. But since the publication, we've had 2 budgets, and we have never got a cost of disability payment. Another very, very basic thing in a republic, along with the abolition of the means test. And then I'll finish in my last minute to say, approximately 2 years ago, I also tabled a motion, and at the time the Minister and the government didn't oppose it, which I very much welcomed. And that was looking at to open up the respite beds after COVID, because they all remain closed. And I want to say, Minister, you took a hands-on approach in relation to that, and so did Deputy Butler, and I welcome that, and you did. But again, that's 2 years ago, June. And what I was looking for was an audit of the respite beds throughout the country that were available. I still don't know how many respite beds are there. I don't know many of them are in health executive owned property or in rented property. And we're all tabling questions, how many respite beds are available in Galway. And it's up and down, and they still remain closed. The reasons for that change, you know, lack of staff, lack of, yeah. A mixture, and that's the other, actually, it's difficult to understand the answers, whether it's older people or people with disabilities. There's a mix, and I put my hands up there and say, I'm maddened to the confusion. But these are very basic requirements. It's absolutely saving billions. I heard the figure mentioned of 20. I don't know what the exact figure is, but the figure I was using was 12 billion. And we can pick the figure out of the sky, but perhaps the mandarins in the Department of Finance might assist us.